Hey, it's Shibes from Song Chops. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming. Today we're going to talk about capos. If you find the information valuable, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on a single thing. There's a couple of things you need to think about when you're choosing a capo. I sort of treat capos like they're office supplies, so I have a lot. I've tried quite a few. So everything that I'm going to show you today, I've actually purchased myself. I've got links to all of these if you want to try a few in the description below. So let's talk about the key things you need to think about when you're actually purchasing a capo. So different guitars actually require different capos. And I know you're like, well, that seems weird. I mean, a guitar's a guitar. But if you have different types of guitars, you may notice that the neck is different. So I'm going to show you, I've got two completely different sized guitars next to me here. One is a Gibson Advanced Jumbo. And I mean, here's me, and here's this guitar. This guitar is pretty large for me, and the neck on it is actually wider than normal. So if I try to put a capo that has like a U shape on it, like this, it doesn't actually fit. So I have to choose another option. Also, the profile of the neck right here will be different. Some guitars are fatter, they're a little bit deeper than others, and they have a different curve. So there's a V neck on older vintage guitars, a lot of Gibsons have that, and then sort of a C shape and U shape, a little fatter underneath. So you need to find a capo that's actually going to work for the guitar that you have. So here's another guitar. This is a luthier guitar. It's a Robertson. This is more my size. This is usually the type of guitar that I play. The neck profile is, it's got a little bit more of a V neck. Not quite, so it feels like a V shape coming in right here. A little bit more of a V neck. So I can't use the same capo that I would use on a flatter guitar because sometimes it just doesn't actually hold the strings down very well. That's something to consider. So think about that for your guitar, and you may have to experiment a little bit. And I'm going to show you some options so you can get a general idea of what shape will work. And then if you want to buy a more expensive version, then you can. The number one thing with your capo, you want the capo to work well enough so you don't have to over tighten it, and you want your guitar to stay in tune. There's nothing worse. You write a song, you want people to listen to it. You took the time for the melody and your chords and your lyrics, and then if you start a song and your guitar is out of pitch, that's what they'll hear. So to quote Gillian Welch and David Rawlings, right? We tune because we care. So care about your songs and care about how the audience is listening. This is a D'Addario Planet Wave NS. They actually make a new version that's a tri-action. This one actually allows you to put a little tuner, connect a little D'Addario tuner to it right there. And the way it goes on the neck is down here. So basically, you grab the top of it, squeeze, and shove it on there. That's it. Now, it's a lot like a Kyser, which I'm going to show you next. With these kinds of capos, you have to be careful that you squeeze it enough so that it goes over the strings because you don't want to push the strings. That's the number one danger with these types of capos. I mean, personally, I don't like having something way up here like this. This is an $18 capo. An alternative to that, squeeze on the top capos, is a Kyser. You've probably seen these. These actually push against the bottom of the neck with this square piece on your round neck. Let's push out. I learned that in writing school, but. And then the top pad goes on your guitar. It's got a big giant spring right here. So, same deal. Squeeze it with your hand. Try not to shove the strings over and then let it go. And you can see the rubber piece on the back here. If you have a V-neck, so this is a little bit of a V-neck, it's difficult to get this to actually hold the strings down on the high and the low end on your top and bottom strings. So you get up there a little bit of buzz, and it's annoying. And like I said, I'm not a fan of having something just this giant up here. Solid capo runs about $20. It's a Kyser quick change. Now, if you're doing a lot of if in the middle of a song you decide you're changing the key and you have to grab something and go up and change it a step, This is great. I don't change keys in the middle of a song. So this for me ends up being more of a distraction than a tool. If it's a tool for you, great capo for that. Let's go to some that are a little bit lower profile. So this is the G7. It's tiny. This thing is tiny. Now, there are a lot of people that swear by this capo. I personally don't have a lot of grip strength, so this one is hard for me because you have to squeeze it by hand. So if you've got an odd shaped neck, like this one on this Robertson, you've got an odd shaped neck, it's kind of hard to get it to work right. So same as the others, you put it on, put it where you want it, and then basically you have to squeeze. And I just can't ever seem to get it squeezed down tight enough. But it is a great looking capo. Look at the profile on that. It is virtually nothing. I mean, looks nice and clean, which is big for me. And it's solid. I mean, for the size and everything, this is a solid little capo. So it's the G7. This capo is about $55. So it's a little bit more expensive. One of my favorites, the Dunlop Johnny Cash capo. So this is actually designed after the Dunlop capo that Johnny Cash used. So it's sort of like the Johnny Cash signature model. Really? This is a super, super solid capo. Why is it a super solid capo? Because the screw for this one, actually, if you can see it, is over on the side. So it doesn't come up from the bottom like a lot of other capos and then pull the top down. It actually levers it down onto the guitar and creates pressure equally across all of the strings. This capo is $20. I think I have 5 of these. This actually works on the large neck, the Gibson. Let me grab that real quick. But this one is super simple. You open it as wide as you need to, slide it on basically. Hold it, see, you gotta use 2 hands though, right? And hold it with and then screw it down. With a Kyser or something like that, you don't need to use 2 hands. Some of these other capos that have screws and the U shape and all that I'm gonna show you in a second, you need 2 hands. But I'm willing to do it because the sound is what matters most, not necessarily convenience. And then you just practice and you can get pretty fast at it. Here's the profile on this one. And look how thin that is at the top. I mean, not a huge distraction. You could also flip this around and do it from the bottom if you want the screw to be on the bottom and not get in the way of your top hand. I don't play a lot of lead, so this works for me. It's a $20 capo. Man, Chili loves this capo. I think she's saying you should at least get it and try it. Yeah, that's what she's saying. This is a Thalia. So the Thalia works the same as the G7, and you literally just squeeze down to make it work. So let me put that on a guitar, show you how that works. There we go. Again, hand strength. This is why I do not use one. Squeeze to go on and then release. And then if you want to move it, you can move it anywhere between $75 and $100, depending on which one you get. Sometimes you can get seconds, so there might be some defect. Usually the defect you can't see, so it's a great way to pick up a higher priced version. When you want to take it off, you squeeze it and take it off. So let me show you one that is a second. It's actually my band partner. This is her Dolly Parton rhinestone version, or Glenn Campbell rhinestone cowboy version. But again, squeeze, place, and let it go. So how does that look, right? Super fancy. So this is for formal occasions, this capo. So if you're going to a black tie event, want to take your guitar, this is the capo for you. Let's talk about the Shubb capo. This is very similar to the Cash capo, but you'll notice that the Cash capo has the screw on top, right on the side, and the Shubb has all these sort of pieces and parts and things that kind of hang and all that other stuff. So this would be what they both sit on the guitar in a very similar fashion, but the Shubb grips from the bottom. I love Shubb capos. I have to admit, they are my go-to. And the reason is because they're super reliable. I actually prefer the one that has the standard, the old time screw, not the little roller, but they all work great. This one, you can tighten and you pull it off. You just unlatch it because they have this small rubber pad at the bottom. They usually work on most guitars. So, again, probably 2 hands. Goes on, I position it, hold it with my finger, and then on the back, I close it. I kind of get the screw where it's in a good, and then I lock it with that. If this helps you not tighten it too much. So you're going to use the screw to adjust for the depth of your neck. Then you're going to put your thumb on this little silver thing here. If you get a ton of pressure, back off a little bit. And I push, and it snaps shut. There you go. These Shubb capos you want to keep right behind the fret. No buzz. Don't want any buzz. And you don't want to squeeze down too hard because that also affects the pitch. Ideally, when you put the capo on, it's the right capo, you're going to hit your tuner, and it shouldn't really change things all that much in terms of tuning your guitar. Fantastic capo. So this Shubb C1 with the screw, $17. So highly recommend that one. I use the Shubb, sure, but I also, the style that I like, it's the U shape. This is actually a Taylor, which I've tried. This works great on Taylor guitars. So if you have a Taylor guitar, these work really well. They actually fix some of the design flaws that exist in the Paige, which I'm going to show you next. I can show you. There's a little pad right here. It goes behind the guitar, and then you use this screw to tighten it down. The top piece is actually held by a little bracket right there. So this is going to go over the neck. You close it, snap it down. It's that simple. But for me, when this is on the guitar, it's difficult to get it back off because the mechanism actually pushes in and then up. And just to me, also, that's a lot of things going on the neck of your guitar and pressure that you're pushing around. So while they made it so it stays down and fastens and doesn't pop up, which sometimes you have to be careful with on the Paige, it actually, for me, is more difficult to get it off. But this is a good one. This it's a Taylor 6-string. It runs $40. Try the one I'm going to show you next to see if you even like the style. If you have a Taylor guitar and you're having a problem with how it fits on the neck, then maybe you want to go with this one. Paige. Look how little this one is too. That's what I also like about this capo. Same thing, right? This is the original sort of U-shaped capo that a lot of other people designed around trying to fix things with it. So screw at the bottom, goes up on the guitar. I'm going to show you how to put this one on. And then there's a little bracket right here, and boom, it pops up. So it goes on your neck, clips on, and then the bracket goes over the bar. Now sometimes what happens is, with these, you push the bracket down, it didn't clip right, you didn't get the bracket over the bar, and it pops off when you're playing. So that's not good. And you always have to make sure these are tightened down enough as well. So how does this go on? Let me show you. I'll show you on my little guitar here. Just goes on, boom, goes behind. There's the bar across the top. I shut the bar, make sure my bracket's down, close the bar, snap it down, and then I close the little bracket, put my finger on it, and then I tighten down the back screw, and boom, it's set. And then you're gonna make sure there's no buzz. That's really important when you put these on. Make sure there's no buzz. I also like these U-shaped because when I'm on stage and I have a guitar stand, or between songs when I don't need it, I don't have to take it off, stick it in my pocket, remember where I put it. I just push it up, I go above the nut, I tighten it back down, and boom, it's done. I need it for the next song, I grab it, move it. Now some of the squeeze, grab one here. Some of the squeeze capos, you'll see people, they do this and they got it right here. Looks great, right? Looks great. I'm all about that too. So I just like a clean look. Again, it's personal preference. If you play with 5 capos, you may want all 5 at the top of your guitar just so people know. This Paige capo is great. Stays in tune, keeps the guitar in tune when you add other capos. So I may do something like, move this down, just put this on 2, right there. Let's see, tighten it. Check it. I have my little partial capo, which is basically a 4, I put on 4 strings. So let me go, I'll go up 2, and I'll put it on 4, and I'll flip it on. And I don't have a lot of change. This is key. You don't want to have to tune with this capo and then tune again a lot with this capo. Now, do I have to tweak a little bit? Sure, but super, super convenient. All right, you get this back off. You literally pop the bracket, pull the bar up, take it off. The Paige capos are $23, and it's a really good, to see if you even like them. A lot of bluegrass players use them. This is my favorite capo. I love it. So I started with the Paige, I tried the Taylor, and then when I realized I liked the Paige, Shubb actually came out with the fine tune. This one solves all of the issues with the Taylor and the Paige. So the top bracket is literally, it's a little pop-off bracket with your finger, and it pops right up. You want to clip it down, you clip it, it snaps right in. They've trimmed out a lot of the extra metal at the bottom here. It's still pretty hefty. You notice the screw is pretty flat when you compare it to the Taylor here. Look at the difference in depth in the screw length. Very, very, very low profile. This one hangs out quite a lot from the back of your guitar. Super low profile on the Shubb. The Shubb also, it's called a fine tune because there's actually numbers engraved into this little nut, this little screw right here. But the numbers are on here, so you sort of know where you're at and you don't over tighten, and you know what works best, so it saves you time when you're tuning, when you're putting the capo on for your song, which is kind of cool. So 3rd fret, right? That's usually, I screw it down until I get to the, it's usually 5, boom, there you go. So there, and then there's the nut profile, really super low. It's nice, it's just nice looking capo. Now this capo, this is my favorite capo. I love this capo. This capo runs $75. So that's why I'm saying try the Paige and the Taylor first, see what you like. The Paige of the 3 is the cheapest, and in my opinion, if the Shubb fine tune hadn't come along, I'd still be using the Paige. I'm gonna actually show you a couple of novelty capos that I use them on occasion just for fun. So if you play for kids or something like that, they're actually kind of cool. So this, so this is a shark. It's shaped like a shark. The kids love it. It is super, it's very heavy. You pull, basically you hold on the back fin, you pull on the bottom fin, and it clamps onto the guitar. Yeah, I'm gonna get some here. Boom. And it's got a good grip. Now it is heavy, so it's gonna pull the head of your neck down a little bit, but it looks really cool, and like little kids love it. Shark capo is like $12, and it does actually work. This other capo that I love, and because I'm in Texas, it comes in kind of handy. In Florida, it worked really well too, is this Alligator capo. You can see it looks pretty cool on the guitar, right? And it works great on large neck guitars. So this Advanced Jumbo, my Gibson, it works great. But this is basically, it's a full grip similar to the Kyser, but it's from the bottom. Now, these are finicky. So I have a friend, I gave her one as a gift, and she was kind enough to use it during her gig, and it didn't fit her neck very well, so she got a lot of buzz, so sorry, Susan. But they look cool, so you kind of have to figure out which guitar it's going to work with and which one it doesn't. It has a very distinct shape in the middle here, in the underside. So if you've got a guitar that's got more of a V-neck, it's not going to work because it leaves, doesn't put enough pressure on the whole top portion of his snout here, and you get buzz, which I think is what happened to Susan. But I apologize, Susan. Sorry, Susan. Nobody noticed, just us. This capo runs this $16, so that's it. I hope that was helpful. Again, you want to look at, when you're choosing a capo, it really comes down to personal preference. You want to choose what's going to work for you and what you feel comfortable with and what you feel confident in. If you don't feel confident with your capo, you'll just not enjoy playing. You can find the links to all the capos that I talked about in the description below. Again, my number one is on my guitar. It is the Shubb Fine-Tune F1. If you like the U-shaped capos, this is a great option. I'd also recommend trying the Paige capo, original 6-string, just because this is $23 and this is $75. So I would say try this one first. It's a great little capo. Those are my recommendations. Thanks for joining us. I hope this was helpful. And I'm Shibes. And keep playing and keep writing and have fun being a songwriter.